Yeah, in terms of sparring, you know, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty southpaws.
With Canelo Alvarez, Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout?
Like it's honest, but again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. Again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Jake Paul's latest preparation move is bringing in Shakur Stevenson to spar ahead of his fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Paul revealed that Stevenson personally wanted to join the camp, adding credibility to his training. He explained that his team has assembled several skilled southpaws, fighters smaller than him but technically sharp, designed to give him the right looks. Stevenson's name stood out since there had been no previous link between him and Paul. Still, Paul believes working with Stevenson and the other sparring partners will sharpen his skills as he gears up for Tank.
In terms of sparring, you know, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick.
Some analysts have questioned the sudden connection between Paul and Stevenson, calling it suspicious. They argue that Stevenson's move resembles Jaron Bootsen as sparring with Canelo Alvarez before Canelo's fight with Terence Crawford. In that case, family ties explained the partnership. With Stevenson and Paul, no such background exists. This has led some observers to believe Paul may have offered Stevenson significant financial incentives. The unusual partnership raises debate over whether Stevenson's decision is driven more by business than boxing pride.
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson had no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. Nah, it's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly to make it happen?
When asked about the Paul versus Davis matchup, Stevenson explained his view from two angles. From a business standpoint, the fight makes sense because of its money-making potential and mainstream attention. But as a fighter, Stevenson admitted he personally wouldn't take the bout. His comments highlight the line between treating boxing as a career move versus pure competition. While critics question his involvement as Paul's sparring partner, Stevenson openly admits that financial considerations often guide these choices, reflecting how modern boxing blurs sport and entertainment.
Can you blame a man for taking that opportunity? Because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that.
Okay.
Like, it just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
Fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever. I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made.
At the official press conference, tension flared when Paul and Davis faced off, leading to a shove that instantly grabbed headlines. Many analysts, however, view the scuffle as a promotional tactic rather than genuine hostility. In today's boxing market, staged confrontations help generate viral buzz and boost pay-per-view sales. The shove fits perfectly into the narrative, a bigger fighter testing his physicality against a smaller but more skilled opponent. Theatrics like this ensure even casual fans will be intrigued on fight night.
Southpaw orthodox matchup, left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you can even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. If he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes with that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Kisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves, still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral, and both these guys are going to make a shot.
Despite the promotional drama, insiders insist Davis is not taking the fight lightly. Observers point to his focused body language and intense training camp as proof that Tank is locked in. Analysts stress that the stakes are higher than many assume. A win over Jake Paul not only brings Davis a massive payday but also mainstream recognition. Unlike aging or exhibition opponents Paul has teased in the past, Tank is in his prime and known for his ferocity. If Paul approaches the fight casually, it could be disastrous for him.
This particular in the press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson. First of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn.
Commentator Showbiz the Adult argued that a Davis victory would carry major cultural weight. He believes Tank would be hailed as a hero both by boxing purists and casual fans who have long wanted to see Paul humbled. For many, Paul's rise from YouTube to headlining boxing events has been divisive, exciting new audiences while frustrating traditional fans. A Tank knockout would symbolize boxing pride triumphing over spectacle, elevating Davis's image inside and outside the ring.
Gervonta Tank Davis stops that. If he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out of the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're gonna see about it. Help you up. We're gonna see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him bandy legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Toe Sugar. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about it. He will be a boxing hero. It will go viral over and over. It's the same thing. No, not even the same. It's not even close. But there was a viral reaction when AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou.
Anthony Joshua can destroy the MMA champion.
When AJ knocked out Francis Ngannou in the first round, it was like, now get out.
Former champion and analyst Timothy Bradley has been blunt, calling the matchup an easy money fight for Davis. He points to Tank's skill level and experience against world-class opposition, arguing that Paul poses little threat. For Bradley, this is less about competitiveness and more about leveraging Paul's fame to make Tank a bigger star. He frames it as a low-risk, high-reward opportunity for Davis, reflecting a wider belief that Tank will win comfortably while cashing in.
Your innocence and say that it ain't fixed, because check this out, Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You killing me? He is not the man. Oh no, yeah, false sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro.
Analyst Paulie Malignaggi views the fight's location, Florida, and its set up as part of a strategy to turn Davis into a mainstream name. A win over Paul on a big US stage would expose Tank to audiences beyond boxing purists. Malignaggi notes that the business logic is clear. Paul brings attention, while Tank brings credibility and fireworks. Together, the matchup could elevate Davis into a household name, with Florida providing easy access for fans, media, and celebrities.
There's obviously a reason why the networks wanted to make Gervonta Davis a star.
But let's look at it, and Robert, I want to ask you this. When you looked at the numbers for Canelo, you know, his fight against Crawford, 41 million viewers. That's what they got. It was the most viewed championship fight of this century. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson got 108 million. It got more than double, significantly more than double. Is it the idea of the streaming services, Netflix, where they're following the numbers, Robert, and that's where the numbers are?
It's what we're coming to, the real fights, the real fights where they deserve to be seen throughout the world are, it's great. They have good numbers, but when you see guys, that are YouTubers, guys that are 60-year-old retired and coming back, and getting 2 times more than what a real fight, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of embarrassing, kind of sad that we're getting there, that we're in that situation. But I also can't blame them, they're all making a lot of money. That's why Tank is doing it. I think it's ridiculous, it's a joke. But I can't go against that either. He's making a lot of money. Jake Paul is doing his thing. Jake Paul is he makes these fights happen and gets the views. So people are tuning in. That's the problem, that people are.
Promoter Nakisa Bidarian added intrigue by confirming the fight will use 10-ounce gloves, standard for lighter divisions but notable given Paul's size. When asked about a possible rehydration clause, which would restrict how much weight Tank could regain after the weigh-in, Bidarian declined to comment. The uncertainty has fueled speculation that Paul's team may have negotiated terms to even the playing field. By keeping details vague, promoters build intrigue while keeping both fighters under the spotlight.
At 195 max weight.
Okay.
10 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
And 12-ounce gloves. And most of you guys know boxing, right? Most of the fights are with 10-ounce gloves. Fighters spar in 16-ounce gloves. 12-ounce and 10-ounce gives you a little bit more safety, which is the key here, given the size difference, but there's a massive experience difference. We will have 3 world-class judges ringside that the commission has approved to ensure there's a rendered decision for the fans. It will not go on their record, but there will be 3 experienced judges, some of the best in the business, giving their view of who won the fight.
So let me just follow up with this then. The Florida statute says that it means an exhibition means a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts.
You saw the exhibition of Floyd and Logan.
Okay.
So just go with that, and if they weren't trying to hit each other,
Fair
then tell me they weren't trying to hit each other. That's up to Tank. What I can tell you is, Tank is focused on coming in the best shape of his life. It's not about gaining weight. It's about having the speed advantage.
What can we expect on the undercard? Championship fights?
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, we'll announce 5 fights, 4 of which are title fights. So yes, you can expect to see another MVP fully stacked card. No prospects on a big show like this. Yes, go ahead. As in, how do the fighters prepare?
You and as well as you as
I mean, look, we started MVP 4 years ago with the mission to be fighter first, right? And I think like this event is exactly that. We're giving Tank a massive platform and opportunity for the world to see who that young man is. He's misunderstood in many ways, but at heart, he is a great human being who has a family and wants to do big things to make an impact on the sport and take care of his family. So we're excited about that. In terms of preparing for this, it's no different than Mike Tyson and Taylor Serrano. It's just another big event that's on a global scale.
Is there a rehydration clause at all?
No comment.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates as the Paul vs. Davis fight approaches.